What is up, you guys? Teller checking in for the recap of UFC Vegas 79. For those of you guys that didn't know, if you don't follow me on IG at MMA Fortune Teller _, I had a huge night lined up for this event. I had 20 units out. As you guys know, no UFC event this upcoming weekend, so I had some extra units to work with. And the spots that I targeted, I really liked. All right, I had 4 official plays. All 4 official plays were 5 unit plays that I threw out there. So let's talk about these plays because I really feel that I was on the money, but I'll explain how everything unraveled here. You guys know there were some controversial fights. Okay, so in the first fight, we had Montserrat Rendon defeating Tamars Vidal. I did have Rendon taking the latter 2 rounds, taking rounds 2 and 3. We talked about the fact that she's very tough. She was going to have a chin on her, although I think you guys saw what I was talking about when I talked about the stiffness that she has in her striking. She's not so fluid with her movement and whatnot, but she's very tough, very physically strong. On the other hand, Vidal came out looking decent, took that first round. She's a little bit more fluid with her movement, but she dropped the latter 2 rounds. So Vidal has to hold that L. She was a pretty big favorite there as well. And then we went right over to another women's mixed martial arts bout where Mizuki Inoue defeats Hannah Goldie. She took every round. And it was just that was a tough one for Goldie. She should have responded to the DM from the teller, and she didn't. So obviously things just weren't going to go her way. She was hit with a teller curse there. And and in all seriousness, you guys know what I talked about in regards to this fight, right? Hannah Goldie is a chick that is big time now. She's on IG. She's like creeping up on a 500,000 followers. She's making plenty of money outside the octagon. She never really was the most polished fighter anyway. She's a very physically fit, very physically strong girl, but she's just not there from a technical standpoint. As you saw her on the weigh-ins all chiseled out and whatnot, but from a skill standpoint, we definitely had Inoue to win this fight. Now, the line was a little high for me with Inoue coming off the knee surgery and being out of the cage for some time, but you're talking about 2 different types of fighters. Inoue is a fighter that's been in the MMA game for a long time. She's a way more disciplined fighter. Hannah Goldie's taking edibles. She's on OnlyFans and all that, and you have to believe that she's ready to fully transition into another career, and that will be on OnlyFans and all that. So Muhammad Usman comes through, takes the latter 2 rounds 2 and 3 over Jake Collier after the frustrating start, the nerve-wracking start. I did have a 5-unit play on Muhammad Usman, caught him at minus 140. The main factor why I was on him here is just he was just going to be the more physically fit, the better conditioned fighter. Jake Collier is a guy that's very inconsistent. He comes in very much overweight for what his frame is. But I will say this, when I saw him on the scales and I saw the way he was looking when he entered the fight, I was a little worried because actually this is the best we've seen Jake Collier look up at the heavyweight division. He definitely shed some weight. That did have me nervous because I did feel that Collier would have an edge in the boxing department, especially early on, but I thought that he would have wilted later in this fight, and that's what happened. But props to Collier for actually taking himself a little bit more seriously from how it looked. But again, at the end of the day, this fight played out exactly how I thought it would, and the fact that Usman would take this fight over late, I thought he would mix in some takedowns. That's what happened in the 3rd round. And at times, Usman's a little bit too comfortable trading on the feet, almost to a detriment. He should have been mixing in those takedowns even earlier on in this fight. He would have had success, I believe, and would have really wore Collier out. So at the end of the day, he gets his hand raised. It was a great way to start the event. I was out on the scene. I was out and about, and I was enjoying myself, and it was a great way to start the card. But check out what happened next year. I had another 5-unit play. Of course, all 5-unit plays out on this card. And to kick off this play, we had our 1 2-team parlay out of our 4 bets. All the other bets were straight plays, but we had a 2-team parlay. As you guys know, I like to target. This 2-team parlay, without a doubt, should have cashed. All right, you guys know I had Jacob Malkoon mixed up in the 2-teamer here. I caught him at minus 500. And some of you guys might be saying that that's a high line. I completely disagree with you. You guys know how confident I was in Jacob Malkoon. You heard what I was saying about this matchup here. This is a fight that Jacob Malkoon wins 999 times out of 1,000. He is the superior fighter. Cody Brundage is a complete flake of a fighter, just as I wrote in my write-up for this bet here, for this play. And once again, he proved he's a complete flake. He went the weasel route, and he knew that this was going to be the last time that he fought in the UFC, and he wanted to snag a win bonus. He wanted to make some extra money. I don't know the ins and outs of his contract, because technically he won this fight. I don't know if the UFC has to give him another opportunity here, but I know for damn sure that as he was on his way to losing this fight, as he was getting destroyed, that it was going to be the last time we were going to see from him. And he knew that, and he took the weasel route. I guess I don't even know if I want to say the weasel route, because maybe he took the intelligent route, put some extra money in his pocket for the family and whatnot. Maybe it was the intelligent route, depending on how you look at it, if you want to be honest, right? Because Malkoon got him down to the mat like I knew he would, and just was bashing him up with the ground and pound. Now, if I could say one thing negative about Jacob Malkoon, he was a little reckless with his shots. Yes, he was just throwing them at the back of the head of Brundage when he didn't even have to. I mean, you saw Brundage was going to fizzle out, and he should have just aimed more for the side of the temple, and he would eventually broke Brundage. And I don't know why he, it was so frustrating. He almost had that choke, locked in that rear naked choke, and then he let it go, and then he just drops an elbow to the back of Brundage's head. There was no reason for it. He was going to destroy Brundage, and he was going to win that fight. I was very, very pissed. And you guys know Brundage could have continued the fight, like I said. He made that decision. And then also, I don't know why this has to be a DQ loss for Malkoon. It should be a no contest, in my opinion. I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys thought about that fight. It was extremely frustrating. Cost me thousands of dollars. It was a very painful loss, all right, guys? So that kind of put a twist on my day there. Tim Means takes on Andre Fiallo, one of the few fights that we picked wrong in the card. You guys know I said both these fighters very inconsistent as of recently. And their bodies aren't really holding up. Both these guys have been finished extensively as of recently, so we didn't really have much faith in either guy. I thought that the age advantage that Andre had would have came in here. Tim Means is very old at this point in time, but you guys know I also did not trust Andre that much. I mean, his chin is it's diminished, and I talked about the fact that Andre Fiallo should have not been fighting at this point in time. I said I wanted to see him take off a solid year from the fight game, and now do you guys see why I said that? His body cannot withstand any type of punishment, and he just breaks down. He definitely should not fight. I'll say at this point in time, he needs to take a year and a half off, 2 years off, okay? He's still relatively young. He's 29 years old. Take 2 years off from the game. Go let your body refresh and repair. And on the other hand, Tim Means gets a fun victory there, gets a win bonus. It was some type of fight bonus, right? Performance of the night. He's 39 years old, though. Don't expect him to go out there and take out anyone significant moving forward, but he's always a fun fighter. All right, and then this was one of the other fights that I picked wrong, one of the very few fights I picked wrong here, but this was my only legitimate loss out of my 4 official plays. I had a 5-unit play on Dan Argueta, caught it at minus 175. I stand behind the play. I'm a big fan of Argueta's. I think that his cardio is an absolute weapon. He's so mentally tough. This fight came down to the 3rd round, and Miles Johns did edge this fight, used his boxing and his takedown defense to take this fight. It was a very close fight. Argueta needs to work on his striking defense, needs to work on his head movement and his counter boxing. But I do believe that Argueta will be back and will wreak havoc in this division. I'm telling you guys that right now. A little frustrated he didn't come through for me. He's 30 years old. I mean, you take a look at Argueta in 2 to 3 years. I think that he'll continue to sharpen up his striking and his striking defense. He's just a guy that is so committed to the fight game. I know we'll see growth from him still. And props to Miles Johns for also working on his craft and looking good. But again, that was the only legitimate loss out of our 4 official plays. All right, so Charles Jourdain comes through, gets the guillotine choke over Ricardo Ramos. Jourdain looking very good out there, very composed. He is a threat to the featherweight division. Bryan Battle, I caught him at minus 170. Another 5-unit play cashes here. I loved how composed Bryan Battle was, just weathering the storm from Fletcher early on and eventually just breaking him down, getting that rear naked choke. This dude Battle is a very well-rounded fighter. He has a lot of different tools that he brings to the fight game, as we saw. I mean, this isn't a guy that just can go out there, just goes out there and looks to just start you early. He's really methodical, and he's making intelligent decisions, and he knows what he's doing out there, man. So you guys know I'm a big fan of Battles, and he always shows love on IG and whatnot, and I'm happy for him to get that W there. Now, Marina Rodriguez was the other leg that I had mixed up with Jacob Malkoon. Caught her at minus 295. This was a rematch of a fight that just took place not too long ago. Michelle Waterson has just aged even more so, and I always have much love for Michelle Waterson, but I felt that this was a perfect bounce back spot for Marina Rodriguez. I still know how dangerous her striking is. People were sleeping on her here. I know she had some issues with her takedown defense at times, but she proved to me when I was rewatching the first fight again that she could keep this fight standing long enough to land some big shots, and I felt confident there. That's why I mixed her in that parlay. Marina Rodriguez and Jacob Malkoon, that was a parlay that you guys really could have just took to the bank. And again, it didn't cash, but I mean, come on, guys, let's be honest there. And again, I caught that parlay at combined odds at -165, and that one hurt there with the whole Malkoon situation. But let's push past. Bryce Mitchell pushes past the eye damage in this fight against Dan Ige. I mean, he showed his toughness. Bryce Mitchell is an absolute threat. You talk about cardio and grappling as a tool. I mean, Bryce Mitchell has that in his back pocket, just about more than anybody in the fight game right now. His cardio, his grappling is ridiculous. I mean, you talk about like the Khabibs of the world. If you guys know what I'm saying, like those Dagestani grapplers that push the pressure, just continue to chain grapple and chain wrestle. I mean, you throw Bryce Mitchell in the hat with those types of guys. This guy's relentless, and I love backing fighters that push the pace like that. Now, no official action on Mitchell here. I thought that Ige could have potentially been the kryptonite to Mitchell's style, as we saw how Ilia Topuria fought him. The thing is, the reason why I did pick Bryce Mitchell is I didn't feel that Dan Ige is near on the level of a Topuria. He does some things very good, has good defensive grappling, good jiu-jitsu, good striking, but he's not an Ilia Topuria, and I thought that eventually the pace of Mitchell would break Ige. That's what happened there. So how about Bryce Mitchell bringing out the Bible, trying to get a prayer in the post-fight interview, and Bisping just acting like he didn't even hear it, just walking away. You guys know that wasn't happening at all. You know ESPN was up in Bisping's ear and saying, nope, you ain't getting none of that. Now, if it was a different religion, they probably would have let him said whatever he wanted to, but you guys know how that goes. You guys, let me not go on too much about that. So, Mateusz Gamrot gets the victory over Rafael Fiziev. And listen, what is there to say about this fight? Very disappointing. Fiziev goes out there, takes the first round. But realistically, we didn't get to see how this fight was going to play out at all, because this fight was really the way we were going to know how this fight was going to play out was going to be in the third, fourth, and fifth rounds. Was Fiziev going to be able to hold up his cardio late in this fight, or was Gamrot going to be able to take over this fight with his grappling and his proven pace that he pushes? We've seen him in 5-round wars, like the Arman Sarukian fight. So we don't know. We don't have any clue how that fight was going to play out, to be honest. I didn't get any closure from that fight, and it's a shame that Fiziev gets injured pretty seriously. I don't know when's the next time we'll be seeing him fight again. How about Gamrot running around the octagon celebrating? I mean, listen, he got the job done, I guess you could say. And another kind of interesting victory for Gamrot, right? You take a look at his last 4 fights. Check this out. The Fiziev injury, the Jalen Turner split decision, which a lot of people thought Turner won, got schooled by Beneil Dariush, and then the Arman Sarukian fight, I thought he lost that fight. The majority of people thought he lost that fight, but you still can't take anything away from him from that Sarukian fight, because he did still showcase how tough he is, and he pushed the pace in that fight. Either way, that was kind of a win for him, right? That was a great fight, but could easily be on a 4-fight losing streak, and now he's won 3 of his last 4. So what's next for him? I don't know about all that. I mean, we could take a quick look over at the top of the lightweight division. I can potentially give you a matchup here. I mean, obviously he's not getting a rematch with Dariush. Dariush is coming off that loss to Oliveira. Justin Gaethje doesn't have any fights scheduled as of now. Sarukian doesn't have any fights scheduled as of now. Of course, you got Chandler potentially fighting McGregor. I mean, the only thing I really see is maybe Gamrot gets the winner of like a Bobby Green or Grant Dawson, which is the next fight card taking place. Or maybe you give him a rematch with Arman Sarukian. I don't know if Sarukian maybe wants that rematch. Maybe he wants to get that win back, and then he pushes his way towards a title shot. Maybe Gaethje versus Gamrot is something that we see. There's just there's a lot going on right now. You got Makhachev and Oliveira rematching. So I don't know. If it was up to me, you also have DP also coming off that loss, and he says he wants to get back in there. Maybe you see Gamrot versus a DP or a Gaethje or a Sarukian, one of those 3. Although I know he's trained with DP, but that doesn't matter these days. So, all right, guys, that's going to be the recap of UFC Vegas 79. I'm going to go out. I'm going to say another profitable night. All right, how about that? Realistically, we hit 3 of our 4 official plays, all 5 units. We only lose that one fight that came down to the 3rd round. Let's be real about it. Dana White's Contender Series will be up here on the channel very soon. Those fights taking place tomorrow night. We'll have that uploaded by tonight. And then we have another DWCS event taking place next Tuesday that will also be up here on the channel before we have the Bobby Green versus Grant Dawson card up. All right, guys. We'll leave you guys with that, all right? Signing out. Teller.
Welcome to the show. This is the MMA fortune teller. Yeah.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.